Hey there again. As you've probably noticed, the setting is a little different this time. The reason being we have COVID in the Columban House. And so we are not allowed to go over to the Columban Mission Centre and meet with the staff. In other words, to meet with my photographer, my editor, my promoter. So we're going to do this little filming outside in the fresh air. The text today is from the Last Supper discourse that Jesus gave to his disciples between washing the feet and going to the Garden of Gethsemane. And the part I want to mention or focus is really rather what John had to say, what motivated John to put into his letter, his gospel, these particular words of Jesus. And I suspect that John, who was writing some 40 to 50 years after the event, was encountering in the early Christian community a little bit of tension. And that's typical in any early organisation. There's always the tension between the charism and the vision and the flair of the founder or foundress and those who consolidate that process as it becomes institutionalized. And there are laws and rules and so on that are put into practice. And I think John was facing that because he promised, you had record Jesus promising to send the Spirit. And the Spirit who would give them the truth about sin. The Spirit who will give them the truth about judgment. And the Spirit who will give them the truth about who was in the right. Because I suspect that's the sort of experience that the Christian community was having. There were those who were addicted or fixated on the law, the rules, the dogma. And those who were fixated on the practice, on doing what Jesus did. And that was called praxis. Okay? So I think that's what was happening. And I think of the church today. I can go back a little bit. I can go back to the council, the Vatican Council in 62 to 65. And I know before that, there were certain things that were dogmatic and that were honest. For example, in those days we said there was no salvation outside the Catholic Church. After Vatican II, we've come to appreciate that every religious tradition has elements of the truth. And every religious tradition can offer a pathway towards salvation. Well, likewise, when we were kids, in fact, when we were growing up as kids, we were told if you eat meat on Friday, you go to hell. But now, of course, we know that God condemns nobody to hell, except those who choose to go there. Or likewise, if you go to a parish mission, back before Vatican II, and you went to a mission, you came home a bit frightened, because the preacher was very, very good at speaking to you hellfire and brimstone. Whereas if you go to a parish mission now, you're presented with a God who is love, a God who is near, a God who cares and forgives, a God who is compassionate. Yeah? And so, just as in those days they had that sort of a tension in the early community, so today we have that tension. The law or the Spirit. And that's a healthy tension. And what I pray today is that the new Pope Leo will be able to bring those two sides together. Bring them into harmony because we need one another. We all need something of doctrine and dogma, but we also need practice and a realization or an enactment of what Jesus did and said. Yeah? Because as James says in his letter, faith without works is dead. And I'd like to add that works without faith dies. So let's celebrate the richness that we have in our tradition of doctrine and of practice. And let's pray that Pope Leo will be able to bring those two together, because we need one another. Okay? So let's remember that. Neither one nor the other, but both and. Okay? God bless you. Have a good weekend and keep clear of the COVID. Thanks.